Hey Facebook friends, Nathan here. It's been a few days since my last video. Sorry about that. It was a little bit of a busy weekend, so I was not able to get some time away to go and do another video till this evening. But yeah, glad to be here. I enjoy doing these, and yeah, as always, I hope that they're informative for you, and I hope you are entertained as well. It's been it's been an eventful few days here in Michigan. It's been kind of crazy around here. As usual, the Facebook flame wars continue apace between the left and the right. It's getting pretty vicious out there. You've got people virtue signaling over the masks now because Gretchen wants us to wear the masks everywhere in public. And of course, some of us don't want to wear masks, and those people are called selfish and vilified for the choice that they've made there. Personally, I don't care whether you choose to wear a mask or not. If you do, that's great. If you don't, hey, you know the risks, and you know, you've accepted that. That's the way that freedom is supposed to work in this country. But unfortunately, yeah, some people seem to take it really personal. The choices that other people make, they act like, you know, like you're causing this epidemic to continue there. And so they'll lash out at you. Hey, Julie. Glad you could join us. Yeah, I saw your post earlier on that subject, so I wanted to bring it up tonight because I know that's something that I've seen back and forth on all these community forums lately, and some of them have gotten to be pretty vicious, pretty heated in that regard. And to me, it's just this latest executive order from her it's more bullshit from somebody who she's feeling her oats. She's enjoying rule by decree right now. This latest extension, I mean, she's not even going back to the legislature to get backing from them for this. She said, well, they had the 1945 law, so I'm just going to take it upon myself to extend this to May 15. I don't think that's right. I think that she has lost a lot of respect, a lot of legitimacy among the actual people of Michigan because of the decisions that she's made. I don't know that she cares. I mean, she continues to showboat and, you know, do the talk show circuit and all that. She's trying to audition yet for the Veep slot with senile Joe Biden over there. So it's a tough situation right now for us here in Michigan because it's the little people that are hurt with these games that elites like her play. Hey Rick, glad you could join us. Reed. So yeah, not much has changed that way. I mean, she's allowed certain industries to go back to work, which, who is she anyway? Who is she to go and decide one industry should be closed down and another one should open? You know, I guess we're supposed to thank her now. Thank Queen Gretchen. We can, you know, allow the landscapers to go out and work again. So it highlights the arbitrary and capricious nature of tyranny. It's tyranny. And I shared a column from Nolan Finley today where he kind of went into that whole situation with this latest executive order. And he's basically reached the same conclusion here, that she crossed a line there where she's overreached. You know, she's exceeded her authority as governor. She's operating outside the bounds of the Michigan state constitution now. So this is just a preview, people. I mean, if whether it's her or somebody else with Biden, but if they should win in the fall, that's exactly the kind of thing that they're going to be doing across the country. You know, you can mark my words on that, that we will see that across this country if that happens. So, yeah, there's a big rally coming up Thursday. I'm sure you all know about that. The April 30 rally. There's a lot of patriots that are standing up here in Michigan. People are trying to make their voices heard. They're trying to, they're trying to lobby their elected representatives to have an impact and try to put a stop to this insanity. Myself included. I know a lot of you guys do that. I hope we can have an impact. I hope we can put a stop to what's going on, because it's real people's lives are affected. People that are unable to pay their bills and take care of their families. So the sooner that it ends, the better, as far as Michiganders are concerned. But I just wanted to kind of give you a little overview of where we're at right now, a little commentary on the situation in Michigan. But I'll digress from that. The theme that I have for today's live video it's from John Parker to John Connor, 245 years of American freedom fighters. And some of you guys that are a little older like me, you might get the reference there. If not, I'll explain it too. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, I work in technology. I'm a software engineer, and I've been watching some of the developments that have been going on in the social media space, in telecommunications and signal intelligence. There's some pretty concerning things that are going on out there, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about some of that, because it heightens the level of danger that we all face, the dangers to our way of life, our freedom. Yeah. If any of you have done any reading or studying on the progressive movement in this country, whatever you want to call it, liberal, progressive, socialist, communist, I mean, same difference really, but they've been building matrices of control for over 100 years now. It really started with, Woodrow Wilson was kind of the father of the progressive movement. He was around when they did they implemented the Federal Reserve. I think it was the direct election of senators. That's kind of when things started to turn away from freedom and towards more of, big government and state control. So they're very patient. They're not stupid people. The leadership, they're not stupid. They may be evil, but they're not stupid. They're patient, and they have worked for decades to get us to the point where we're at today, where we have basically a turnkey tyranny in this country. It's ready to go. If we get the right, corrupt people at the top, they're going to have everything in place that they need to, control the unwashed masses. Yeah, it's not just here in the United States. It's a worldwide phenomenon. They call it the Long March through the institutions. They've built up a massive welfare state. They have control of all the main, media outlets, the media conglomerates, where, most of the country gets their news. It's not universal anymore, thanks to the internet, but they still have a huge amount of influence in the media space. Hey, Steve, thanks for joining. And now leftists, by and large, control, big tech, or the FANGs company: Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. These are huge multi-billion-dollar global corporations that exert a tremendous amount of control over our daily lives, because we're all plugged in to their applications, their networks that they've created, and that gives them a lot of power over us, a lot of power. But it's not just private corporations; it's also the government. And some of you may be familiar with the scandal that, well, I guess we call it the Russiagate scandal, but where our intelligence agencies surveilled the Trump campaign, tried to put their finger on the scale back in 2016, to try to sabotage his campaign. So that's still being investigated to this day. We don't know everything that happened, but we know enough to know that our intelligence agencies, FBI, CIA, NSA, they went outside their legal role, and they attempted to, influence a presidential election in 2016. I mean, God knows what they have planned for this cycle. But, I have a friend at work, actually, project manager, and he worked on the project to build the massive federal data center at Bluffdale, Utah. That's where they suck in, massive, terabytes, petabytes of data from all over the world, including here in the United States. Citizens are not exempt from this stuff. They suck everything in, and they store it. They can go and, if you're a person of interest, they can go and they can get your phone calls, your emails, your text messages, whatever stuff you're doing out there on the internet, they can pretty much get it. And that's what, it was William Binney was the first one that kind of blew the whistle on that. He worked for NSA for 30 years and got very concerned when they removed these safeguards that had been put in place to protect the privacy of American citizens. Well, they took that away after 9/11. Remember how I said once you give up some of your freedom, you usually don't get it back? Well, we lost a lot after 9/11. So in the name of preventing terrorism, they got rid of some of these safeguards. Then you fast forward a few more years and you had Edward Snowden, and he exposed that to a greater extent, the surveillance of American citizens. It's unconstitutional. It's illegal what they've been doing over there. And in 2016, we saw them, turn their tools, the intelligence agencies, turn their tools toward a political end there. And that's extremely disturbing to anybody who supports a Republican form of government there, because we're, a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy, like you'll hear so many liberals say. And right now that our American form of government is in extreme jeopardy. And Which direction things go, I mean, it's anybody's guess at this moment, but I think this is going to be a pivotal year. So we're all gonna see some really interesting things later this year as the election draws closer. Yeah, I think Snowden did the public a service by exposing that. I know some people don't agree with what he did, but it was important that he exposed the corruption that was going on there, the illegal activity that was going on. We need more information. We need people to come forward, good people in government to come forward the way that he did. And they can certainly help the cause of freedom by doing that. Now, to jump to more recent events, I read a news story. It was about a week ago. It was on Wood TV8, put it on their Facebook page, and it was about the Kent County Sheriff and Battle Creek are now deploying these drones. They're from a company named DJI. And DJI is a Chinese corporation. They manufacture these drones. And apparently this was a donation on their part. They're donating these drones to certain law enforcement agencies. So, yeah, Kent County and Battle Creek are going to start flying these things, apparently. They say that it is for contact tracing, that they're going to use this to, track the spread of the virus, that sort of thing. I mean, whether you believe that or not, I mean, I guess you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt at this point. But it's a little disturbing that they're starting to use tools like that. I know in Florida they were actually using them to enforce curfews too. Now, they've said, Kent County and Battle Creek have said that they're not going to do that with these drones. But nevertheless, the idea that they're going to be flying these things and recording people, it seems kind of un-American to me, honestly. I don't appreciate it at all. And if I was a Kent County resident or a Battle Creek resident, I would be voicing my displeasure rather loudly on that, because it's a slippery slope, and it's not a direction that we really want to go down. I haven't heard anything up here in Muskegon about it yet, but I would not be surprised if they were to get some of these and start using them as well. And also, the other thing about DJI is, being a Chinese corporation, they are, according to Chinese law, they're required to make data that they collect available to, the Chinese Communist Party, the People's Liberation Army. So I don't know why we would want to use something like that here in America, where they could potentially be accessing this footage that these drones are collecting. That's pretty disturbing. Yeah, it's a bad idea all the way around, in my opinion. I hope that police officers, county officials don't continue to go down this road, but if they do, we need to hold them accountable. We need to let them know that we don't want to live under a system like they have in communist China, with social credit scores. We've already got some people, turning people in for playing with their kids at the park or doing yard work, stuff like that. I don't know about you guys. I don't want to live in a country like that, where you've got people ratting each other out where you've got government surveillance everywhere, watching your every move like that. That's not what this country is about. So it's a dangerous time. But as I said before, there is hope because there are more people now that are realizing what's at stake because of all, the dictatorial actions of Gretchen Whitmer, Dana Nessel, other people like that, and obviously in other states as well. They're realizing that their freedom is in peril right now. And some people are taking action, Some people are already committing acts of civil disobedience. The lady in Dallas that opened her hair salon and tore up the ticket when they came to shut her down over there. Those people are heroes, really, for doing that stuff, because they may be putting themselves in some legal jeopardy for that, but they realize that it's worth paying that price to take a stand and fight this nascent tyranny that we're all dealing with here. So when I started out my monologue, I mentioned John Connor. Now, if any of you are fans of the Terminator series of movies, I like to mix in a little pop culture in my talks, because sometimes life imitates art in certain ways, not exactly, but when you think about the infrastructure that's been put into place to facilitate a technological dictatorship. That's the infrastructure that's been laid here in America. If you're honest with yourself, you'll admit that's true. It kind of brings that to mind. For any of you who don't know, the original Terminator movie was about a computer system called Skynet. That it was a military computer system that became self-aware and decided that it was going to take over the world and exterminate humanity. And in the movie, the second film is really where John is introduced, but John Connor is the son of a waitress. He's an average American, and his mother basically... His mother is visited by his dad, who's from the future, and his mother learns that her unborn son, John, will one day, when he's older, he'll fight to save humanity from the machines, from Skynet and the Terminators, the robots that it created to exterminate mankind. So it's a classic series of movies, and I'm sure you guys can see, kind of where I'm going with this there. But to me, I think John Connor and his mother, Sarah Connor, they're cultural archetypes that can inspire us today at a time when we need hope. We need courage. Those of us who love liberty, who love America, and who don't want to see it become a socialist or communist country. The story there is something that we can derive some inspiration from to a certain extent. Let me just kind of do one of the key quotes there from the original film. And some of you may remember this, but bear with me. It's not long. The disposal units ran night and day. We were that close to going out forever. But there was one man who taught us to fight, to storm the wire of the camps, to smash those metal mother effers into junk. He turned it around. He brought us back from the brink. His name is John. John Connor. Your son, Sarah. Your unborn son. That was one of the most memorable lines from the first film, when Sarah kind of learns what her destiny is and what her son's destiny is in the future. And I was reminded of that a few days ago because I talked a week ago about John Parker and how he led those early militiamen who fought for our liberty. Eventually, won our liberty, helped to found this country against, unimaginable odds. And a lot of us probably feel the same way that they felt. But it's a little different now. It's a little more like the story of John Connor because of the technology that's been developed over the past, 40, 50 years since the advent of modern computing, which I know something about, obviously. I work in the business. And I love computing, I love technology in its original scope. Like, it was originally something that would liberate and empower mankind, but like any technology, it has a dark side too. And unfortunately, it can be used to perpetrate evil as well as good. And the tools that we have today are, beyond anything that Hitler or Stalin could have dreamed of. They would have loved to be able to have these systems of control that we've allowed to be implemented here. Now, we're not facing, Terminators. We're not facing killer drones that are armed drones yet. But this infrastructure that's been created here is a first step in a direction of, facilitating tyranny in this country. And it would be worse. It would be worse than Stalin's Russia or Hitler's Germany, because the technology would enable them to exert an even greater degree of control over the people. So I'm very concerned about that. And I hope you are too. Now, John Connor wasn't a superhero. He wasn't born to a powerful or wealthy family. He was just an average American boy. But in the movie, not real life, history chose him for a great purpose. Now, like him and his mother, we were put here at this time for a reason. Each of us has a role to play in this fight. Whether I don't care if you're a waitress, a truck driver, a garbage man, if you're a doctor, lawyer, great. I don't care what your occupation is. I don't care what your background is, your race, ethnicity. I'll stand with you. I'll stand with anybody who loves the Constitution and who supports America as founded. So I admire the example in the Terminator movies of John Connor and Sarah Connor, and the fact that they stood up to the plate and took action when they realized that the future of mankind depended on them, and that if they would not act, everything would be destroyed. Now, we're not facing stakes that great, but our stakes are pretty high right now. If we choose not to act, if we allow leftists, communists, socialists to cow us into silence, to make us afraid of losing our jobs, if we allow them to shame us, to keep us from acting, from doing what we know is right, standing up for what we know is right, we're going to lose our freedoms. We're going to lose our freedoms, and we will not get them back in our lifetimes. Probably not our kids' lifetimes either. They'll be gone for good. And like I said before, there's nowhere to run. This is the last stand here for freedom. It's the last best hope for mankind is the United States, because there's still a lot of good people here. But we don't have any more time to delay. We have to act now. Yeah, I just wanted to share that story with you because I found it to be inspirational, and I hope that for those of you who are in Michigan, we've got this big rally coming up this Thursday, April 30th, at the Capitol at 9 a.m. I want to encourage any of you who are able to make it, please come out and support the cause of liberty in Michigan. We need your support. We need to make this bigger even than the big 415 rally. And just remember, like they say, another key line from the Terminator series, the future is not set. There's no fate but what we make for ourselves. We still have the power to turn this around. We still have the power to choose our destiny if we will exercise our God-given rights right now at this time. So I hope you'll remember that, and I hope that you guys have the heart and the will to see this fight through to the end, whatever comes along. That's something that I try to pray for on a regular basis. Because there's a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of propaganda out there. They want you to be demoralized. They want you to be scared. You don't need to be scared because you're not alone. We surround them, not the other way around. So I hope this talk, I probably went a little long on it, but I know I haven't done one in a while. I hope this talk is inspirational for you, and I hope you share the video and comment. Let me know what you think of it. So with that, I will sign off. Remember, if you can hear the sound of my voice, you are the resistance. Bye.